running for school committee for my second term. I born and raised in Granby, graduated from Granby High School in 1992. I've lived in Granby for most of my life, moved back to Granby with my husband in 2007, and we're very happy here, raising our girls here, and they're both enjoy being a part of the Granby School District. And I've always just wanted to be a part of the community, and it's a nice way to be running for school committee and be able to give back to the community in this way. Well, I'm running again for this position because I felt like there was still a lot of work left that I could help with, and I wasn't really, it didn't feel like I was finished doing what I needed to do as being a member of the school committee. I bring my one term of experience with me, and I learned a lot in that first term. I had excellent mentors with Emery Everin and Deanne Payne-Rakowski and Mike Simpson, and it's working with the administration and the staff has been really fascinating, and I've really come to know and respect the administration in a different way. Things I bring to the table are my motivation, my tenacity, and just overall sense of wanting to do well for the community and for the school district. When I first started, I guess I wasn't 100% clear on what the position of a school committee member was. And I think a lot of people still, just the general community doesn't understand. So I would say the biggest thing that we do is we oversee the school department at sort of a high level. We're not involved in the day-to-day running of the school necessarily, but we help work on policy and some procedures. We oversee hiring of the superintendent. So we just went through that process, and we're working to finish that out with Mr. Sullivan, which we're very excited about. We work with staff and administration for negotiations for the contracts with the union for the teachers and the different units that are involved with that. And we're also a liaison and a partner with the school department and the town, all the multiple town departments, to be able to get things done. So it's really kind of an interesting position. I think the biggest thing is that the high school already is a great place to learn. It's not the building, it's the people, the students, the staff, the administration that make it a great place. And it's always been a great place. Like I said, I graduated from Granby High School. I went through the Granby Public Schools, and we've never had like this huge abundance of money or always the newest and greatest buildings. And we have the people that make it a special place. So I don't foresee that changing the next 5 years, 15 years, 25, 50 years. I think we have the ability to attract and retain excellent teachers. And I think that's really a benefit for us. Obviously, the high school needs some help. That's been an issue since I was in high school. And so we need to figure out how we want to move that forward. And it's not just the school committee that's going to make that decision. It's in partnership with the town, with the community, with all the correct stakeholders. I think it's the MSBA, the Massachusetts State Building Authority. I probably have the S wrong, but we need to look at what options that we have available to us to be able to fix sort of the bones of the building. I don't know how it is, but I know I don't know if it's just a renovation like we did, a massive renovation or a new building or what, but I know that we have a great place for learning now. And I think we can find ways to get the high school to where it would be better. I'm for school choice for many reasons. I think it works both ways and it has a positive impact both ways, whether kids are choicing in or kids are choicing out. I know that both of my daughters have great friends that they wouldn't have otherwise if it weren't for school choice. And I like that people from other towns see something great in our community, in our school district, and they want their kids to come and be a part of that. And I think in some respects, we're not going to be able to offer everything to every person all the time. And it's not always about academics necessarily when people choice out. It might be a particular program, like a vote program that people are choicing out for. It might be that a parent works in the district and it just makes more sense for them to come to work with that person rather than, being too young or whatever to be able to be home by themselves. Sometimes it's for athletics because we don't have we offer we have an excellent athletics program, but there might be some specialty sport that we don't offer that people might go after, or they might be looking for a charter type education like the PVPA or the Chinese immersion school. I mean, I think we have to be open and we have to understand that there's always going to be it's not a one size fits all world anymore. And I think we need to respect that. And of course, I wish that everybody would be able to want to send their kids to Granby, but that's not necessarily the way it works. Well, I think one thing to point out is that we have been doing incredibly well with our budget for the past couple of years. We haven't had to come to town for additional money for the past 2 years that I've been on the committee. And I think really the deficit this year is really sort of a product of the COVID situation where there's less state funding, there's less town funding because just all of the financial picture has been so uncertain. Um, but so I want to make sure to give credit to all of the people that work on our budget and are so diligent with it. I don't think it's fair to say that we've had money trouble in the past, but the past couple of years we've been really doing well. So I think one of the things that comes up in town all the time is whenever we ask for additional money from school, people automatically assume that we're asking for tax increases for the townspeople, and that's not it at all. We're hoping to be able to try to work with the town and look at things differently, and perhaps we need to come to some kind of different partnership agreement. I mean, all of this is really sort of well above my pay grade, honestly, but I think Granby is a small town. It's a unique town. We don't have a ton of businesses. We don't have we don't have some of the things that other towns have where to have a source of revenue that they can help offset when there's changes in funding. So it'd be nice to be able to kind of explore some different options of ways that we can help the school. And then I think that if we have to look at cuts and do things, we need to be creative and think outside the box and try to make sure that the cuts that we do don't impact the classroom or the students directly. Of course, anytime you make cuts in the education field, it's going to be an impact, but try to figure out ways that it's not going to be a huge detriment to the students. We don't want them to lose their education, and the more cuts we make, we're going to see more people choicing out, and we don't want to see that either. First, I don't think that just because we're a small rural district means that we have barriers for learning. In some respect, I think it's really great that we're a small district and we have small class sizes, and our teachers are able to really get to know the students in a different way than if it was a really large district. And I also know that it's nice that, in a small district, your kids' friends, the families, and you get to know them, and you really have a sense of who the kids are. And I know for both of my girls and then their classes, I know probably the majority of the families in both of those grades, and then surrounding grades, just because of how it works with, they make friends through sports and different activities. And I think that that's a plus to being a small district. I think also that we get the benefit of having the small class size, like I mentioned. But I think that in our district, keeping the kids in those small areas is great. One of the things that we lack, because not lack, but we have as a problem in a smaller district, is the way the formulas work for funding. And, that's where I would say we need to try to work with the state as how to change those funding formulas. So I think one of the challenges that's been sort of on the radar is obviously the high school, just the building in general, and then a potential space issue, particularly at East Meadow. Funding is always a challenge. Opportunities are ways for us to try to work collaboratively with different areas of the town, really build solid relationships with all the town departments so that we can have important discussions more regularly, and try to find ways to get on really good footing and have great partnerships. And opportunities is, there's a lot of building and houses on the market in Granby, and we'd like to be able to attract families and retain them and have them want to come and raise their families here and just have a really great sense of community. And I think that community really starts and grows with the schools. If you have a good school system, we're going to have a great community. And I think that that's probably the biggest opportunity we have, is to let people see that Granby is this shining star, and we want it to stay that way. So I'd say, my core values are probably everyone's core values: to be loyal, to be honest, to be committed and follow things through, to be reliable, dependable, and to do things with integrity. Just be an overall good person and follow those qualities is just who I am. And I don't know really which one of my values is my most important value. I think they're all equally important. But I guess if I was hard pressed to choose one, I'd probably say loyalty and honesty, because I don't know that I could pick between the two of those. But, I think just being a good person is the best way to be. I'm not sure if this means building relationships as a school committee member or just me in general. But the fact that I'm from here and we've been here as a family for a while, I think just getting to know people and doing attending events in the community, going to Charter Day, you know, just being involved, you get to meet people. But as a school committee member, just coming to the meetings, interacting with the public that attends meetings, when I'm at my daughter's sporting events, talking to people, see what they think, if there's been a hot button issue at a past meeting, just trying to get a sense of what people think. I want to make sure that I'm doing what people think, not just what I think. Sometimes it's hard to separate the two, but I want to make sure how I'm thinking and feeling is aligning what other people are thinking and feeling, because it's not my opinion necessarily that matters. Although I tried to use that as sort of a guiding light, but ultimately, I've been elected to. Right now, I was elected to work for the people, and I'd like to continue to do that. So just trying to figure out how and what they think and what they want so that I can do the right thing for them, because ultimately I'm their representative. Boy, 5 years. I hope that we have a really solid administrative team, that we're out of sort of the cycle of turnover. Um, I think that we are out of any kind of budget woes, um, and that we've got sort of all of these things that feel like they're daunting tasks sort of under control. I think that we'll always have great teachers and staff, and so I would expect to retain that. And I think I would like to see, the graduation rates continue to be high, and that we're retaining more students than we're sending out for school choice, and maybe offering some of those programs that would keep more kids in town. But I think that, I feel like honestly we're in a pretty good place. Obviously, we have a deficit, I understand, but I think overall, the Granby School District is doing pretty well, and I would like to see us just continue on that path. So I think the biggest issue is probably funding, and that's not just an issue with town funding. I think it's an issue with how the state does things with like Chapter 70 and circuit breaker and all of these things that I don't necessarily understand fully, but I know that the people that I trust and that are hired to do these jobs, those are the areas that they wish that they would see. So there's the Student Opportunity Act and different areas of legislation that are out there trying to increase funding and look at small rural districts, because we don't have the populations that are sort of requiring and helping get more money. So I think, I don't know how I would address it personally, because it's more than a one person job. I think that, we have good people in the right positions that, we need to work together as a team. And then I guess the secondary one is just our buildings. The high school, obviously, I feel like I'm repeating that a lot, but it is obviously an issue. And then the potential space issue at East Meadow, because we have such an influx of people wanting to come and enjoy that brand new school. Well, I think the overall philosophy is to work with all of the correct stakeholders. The school committee doesn't really design or implement the budget. we look it over when it comes, but the school department works um, in accordance with all of the different individual departments of the school, and talk to them about what needs to be done for requirements for education, for technology, all of those things. And then there's health care and retirement costs and all of those things. So we have a finance guy that's what he does, and the business department, and they go through and do that. So I think that we want to make sure when it's presented to the town and the select board that we're all on the same page and that we understand it. So I think we don't necessarily implement the budget, but I do think working with all the correct people and making sure we're asking the right questions is the important part. I feel like a little bit of a broken record, but really, funding um, the high school, whether it's working on the building just to do upgrades on the inside, or if we're going to explore a brand new building and the potential issue of space at East Meadow. Well, this question is really a really hard question to answer because it's hard to know necessarily what it's going to look like in a post-pandemic world. We're not there yet. And I think personally, it's going to become more of an endemic state where we're going to learn to have to live with this disease like we live with the flu or live with chickenpox. I think there's going to be vaccination rules and schedules and things like that. So, I imagine in my head that it'll be, a recommendation that everyone gets their COVID vaccination, just like they get their flu vaccination or get their, measles, mumps, and rubella. I'm not sure. Um, I'm not sure if we're going to have to mandate shots like that. It's hard to say. I know as a district and being on school committee, that we will continue to follow the guidance from DESE, from the CDC, from the Board of Health, and any other state guidance and any other stakeholder. We'll work with the teachers, obviously, to make sure that they're happy with the way things are going, that we're giving them the protection that they need. And I think that we will adjust and adapt to our new normal, just like we had to adjust and adapt to our current new normal. No one knows what the end state is going to look like. So it's hard to put parameters around it because we don't really know. We don't know what we don't know at this point. I think everyone hopes that we're going to go back to our old normal, where kids can be in a classroom and we don't have to worry about the distance, and they can have gatherings in the gym and have a prom and have a graduation ceremony and have a step up day and have all of those things that are parts of rites of passage, but we don't know what that is. So I think we, as a school committee, as a community, as any just anyone living in town, a parent of a student in the district, we're just going to have to sort of take a wait and see approach. Everyone do their due diligence, follow up on what's being said, follow the rules, and just make sure that we're doing what we need to do. I don't think anyone necessarily wants to go back to a all remote environment. But if we have to explore that again, then we will. And I think that the Granby schools should be commended for how well they did handling the situation. Was it all rainbows and unicorns? No. Do we have some struggles? Of course. And will we continue to have struggles in a post-pandemic life? I think so, but I think everyone will, and I think we did a great job, and I'm proud of the work that we did. And I'm proud to be on the committee that was part of doing that. It was it was hard, but I think we did a great job, and I'm proud of the work that we did, and I can would be proud to be working on that going forward. Well, I don't think there's anything that's missing. I think these questions were great. They were really in depth. I felt like I was interviewing to be a superintendent rather than a school committee member, but I think it really covered a lot of the areas that we work with as a school committee member. So I'm pretty comfortable with what we've discussed. Just thanks, everybody, and I look forward to your support.